Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video I would like to feature a new offering by Fostex. It's the T96A Super Tweeter. You can see it here. So this normally sits on top of your speaker cabinet. You can see in the background I've set this on top of a full range driver project, and so this typically extends the treble frequencies into this particular model extends up beyond 30 kilohertz. And so what I wanted to do in this video is do some objective test data and then discuss how this integrates into a speaker system. And so just reading from the publication that came with the tweeter, Fostex says adding a super tweeter to an existing speaker system not only extends the high frequency range reproduction, but also improves the transient characteristics to improve the sharpness, clarity, and sensitivity of the sound and increase expressive ability. So that's great. Let's take a look at the test measurement and see how this tweeter does. So just going to go to the test data here. So I'm going to start with the frequency response, and you can see here what I've done is a on axis along with 15, 30, and 45 degrees off axis. And so this matches very closely with the published data, which I can show you here. So this is the published data from Fostex. And so it has a 5 dB per octave falling response starting at around 5 kilohertz, and by 10 kilohertz we're down 5 dB. A bit of a bump there, and so if we go back to my measurements, we're seeing virtually the same response, which kudos to Fostex. Recently they've started publishing actual data without any smoothing. Their vertical scale is a little high. It's around 80 dB, which makes it look a little flatter than my measurements. I'm using a 50 dB vertical scale. So you can see that the off-axis is pretty consistent. There's no real anomalies that would cause alarm. Moving on to the step response, you can see that there's a bit of a ringing there, and so I had tested different sequence lengths on my measurement and thought maybe perhaps that was attributable to my test setup or my measurement system, but it persisted, and so I'm not sure what to make of that. But you do see that there is an extremely fast step response in the initial rise and decline. Burst decay looks very clean, nothing of concern there. There is a slight, you can see the little bump there that was at 15 kilohertz. You can see it is a little bit of a resonance showing through with my vertical scale set at 35 dB. Looking at the impedance curve, it matches closely with the published data, which has the fundamental mechanical resonance pegged at 3.5 kilohertz. I was getting 3.8 kilohertz, which is a pretty minor deviation from what's published. The lowest impedance drop is 7.6 ohm, so very friendly for tube amplifiers, and you don't see any kind of breakup through the passband of the driver, which my measurement system goes out to 20K. So I'm not able to confirm what happens beyond 20K, especially with the frequency response, which it would have been nice to see if the extension does indeed go out to 32 kilohertz based on the published data. So this is genuinely a true super tweeter, being able to extend out beyond the human hearing threshold. So looking at the off-axis polar map, you can see that the coverage is very wide. So 120 degree listening window, even out to 10 kilohertz, which it gradually narrows to around a 50 degree listening window at 20 kilohertz. So this is an excellent result. I've tested these super tweeters in the past. I've done the T96A, which I can show you the test data on that. This is the polar response on the 925A, which is it's a larger body super tweeter, and so you can see that at 10 kilohertz it has an 80 degree listening window. compared to the T96A with 120 degree listening window. So wider coverage with this smaller super tweeter, which is to be expected. I can show you what the 925A looks like here. You can see it's a larger body. The body diameter on this is 82 millimeters, where the 96, I believe it's 60 millimeter diameter. Okay, so going back to my measurements, I did intermodulation distortion at various SPL levels, 70, 80, and 90 dB SPL. And you can see here that the tweeter did quite well. Looking at 80 dB, for example, the noise floor was 62 dB down at 5 kilohertz in this region here. And so that's on par with some of the best compression drivers that I've measured, some of the best tweeters. So there's no concern there with distortion. We do get a bit of a rise at around 10 kilohertz, which is, you can see at 90 dB. Sorry, let me just get to the 90 dB one here. So at 90 dB, you can see the noise profile of the driver. Now, one thing to note, the crossover point recommended by Fostex is 8 kilohertz with a 12 dB slope. And so what that means, you can see here that I'm trying to do a multi-tone test, and I'm using a 4 kilohertz high pass with a 40 dB per octave slope. And so I'm really stressing the driver. And so if you use the crossover that's recommended by Fostex, these results will be improved. And that's because you're not asking the tweeter to reproduce the lower frequencies. And so the higher frequencies, for example, in the 10K and the 20K region, will be improved by not asking it to reproduce frequencies in the 5K region. And so I can actually show you an example where I did a test on a full range driver. Let me just see here if I can pull it up. So this is, on the left, a test of the Fostex FE108NS full range driver. Playback level is 90 dB in both scenarios. And so on the left here, I'm asking the driver to reproduce bandwidth from 100 to around 7 kilohertz. And so the left result is shown with a 300 hertz 48 dB high pass filter. And you can see that the noise floor from 2K up to 5K is at around the minus 100 dB mark in relation on this scale. However, when we remove the high pass filter, the driver is now being asked to reproduce the low frequencies between 100 and 300 hertz. And so the distortion products actually rise substantially in the upper mid-range. So you can see that by doing a high pass filter on this driver, you're actually improving the mid-range clarity. So that's something I think that's generally understood, especially with home theater. When you do high pass on your speakers, generally you do perceive an improved mid-range clarity when the driver isn't being asked to reproduce bass frequencies. So the same remains true with a super tweeter. If you're asking it to reproduce lower frequencies, it's going to affect the clarity in the upper frequencies. Just a side note on that. Thought it would be interesting to show. For crossover on this tweeter, I did some testing where I tried to develop a crossover. I started by just simply inserting a 1.5 microfarad capacitor, and it produced the following frequency response graph here. Now this isn't enough. Clearly it's still reproducing strong output in the 5K region. We want to get that higher up, and so what I had done is placed a 0.33 millihenry cap as a a 0.33 millihenry inductor to create a second order filter. And you can see the green line here represents the addition of the inductor. And so it's a very subtle change. So then I continued on and reduced the value of the inductor to 0.18 millihenry, which produced the following result that you can see here. So we're getting really close to the recommended 8 kilohertz high pass. And so to take it a step further, I decided to reduce the capacitor to 1 microfarad, which produced the following response here. And so you can custom tailor the response to blend with your full range driver if that's what you're using. Most often you're going to want to use this super tweeter with a full range driver, and the reason for that would be the increased wide axis coverage. So if we look at the off axis coverage of even a small full range driver such as the 4-inch Fostex that I showed you earlier, we can look at the polar map on this and just bring it up here. So this is what the off-axis looks like on the Fostex FE108NS on a regular baffle. It's actually the baffle that you see behind me there. So you can see that there's after about 3 kilohertz, the driver really starts to narrow. By 10 kilohertz, we have around a 40-degree listening window, and then by 20 kilohertz, it's narrowed to perhaps even just 20 degrees. So what the super tweeter is doing is it's widening that coverage in there, and so that would be the advantage to using a super tweeter like this. Now typically the tweeter is wired out of phase with the full range driver, and so it's going to have a minimal impact on axis, and so when you move off axis, what you're hearing is the super tweeter only, and so it's going to add extra ambient retrieval and air to your sound stage. So that's I think what is they're trying to describe here. So in the nomenclature here, it says that the speaker phase characteristics will also be improved, and the sound image localization will become clearer, allowing for realistic music reproduction. And so I think that's the overall idea by adding a super tweeter, is that you're getting that space that's often lacking when you're with a single full range driver. I think I've covered everything. I'm going to continue to post some. I'm going to continue to future videos show how to properly integrate this into a full range driver, and I'll be showing examples with the Fostex FE108NS and how to go about that. So that's it for today. Take care and have a great day.